Hi everyone. This is Asha from Kendra Vidyalaya number 1 Thambaram, Chennai. This PPT we are showing about the world population distribution density and growth. Chapter 2, volume 1 of NCERT Geography textbook class 12. Let's continue. Here we can see two images. The left side first image shows the people getting distributed, the pattern of people settling or residing in a particular place. In the front of the image, you can see so many people got clustered with each other, which shows the high density of population. And we keeping on moving a little behind, you can see the density is also decreasing. And at the top or behind, you can see that hardly very few people are living. So it keeps on moving from high density, medium density and low density. And we can also say thickly populated, and it leads to sparsely populated. The right side diagram, this shows the world population in percentage for the first 20 countries leading in the hierarchy of population. Now let us just know what are the important concepts we are going to deliver in this lesson. It comes like that as general introduction, patterns of population distribution in the world, density of population, factors affecting the distribution of population, population growth, trends in population growth, doubling time of world population, spatial pattern of population change, impact of population change, demographic transition, and finally with the population control measures. In this slide, we are seeing that the top largest countries with live population as on 08/06/2020. It goes on China, India, USA, Indonesia, Pakistan, Brazil, Nigeria, Bangladesh, Russia, Mexico, Japan, Ethiopia, Philippines, Egypt, Vietnam, Congo, Turkey, Germany, Iran, and Thailand. The top 20 countries as on world population of Worldometer. If a worldometer is a measurement to measure population by the United Nations. Now in this slide, we are seeing that world population again, as I told you on 08/06/2020, it comes for 7.8 billion. It is in June 2020. The current world population is 7.8 billion as of June 2020, according to the most recent United Nations estimates elaborated by Worldometer. The term world population refers to the human population, the total number of humans currently living on the world. Here we are seeing two images. The left one shows the cluster of people on the world. We love the world too much, and at the same time we are disturbing the earth too much. The second right one, you can see this is showing that 90% of the population is occupying only 10% of the land surface. And see, most of the areas are not at all having any population. And again, one more thing, you can go through it very keenly. The land portion is shown in white color and the water portion is shown in the blue color. So wherever land is there, man is occupying. And we can also notice that few areas only are occupied with maximum population. Yes, children, this slide is showing the population distribution. The population of the world is unevenly distributed. George B. Cressy said the population of Asia, that Asia has many places where people are few and few places where people are very many, is true about the pattern of population distribution of the world also. The term population distribution refers to the way people are spaced over the Earth's surface. Here in this map, you can see the reddish brown color areas are having the maximum population. And the key or the legend is shown down. The pink color ones are having sparse population and the blue is coming next, and green, the density keeps on increasing, yellow, and when we go for the red and dark reddish brown in color, the population is increasing to the maximum. And you can see some dots are there that they are showing in the form of people being spaced or people being placed. Now let us study about the density of population. Each unit of land has a capacity to support people living on it. The ratio between the numbers of people to the size of the land is the density of population. It is measured in person per square kilometer. The formula to find the density of population is population by area, and it is given in, the answer is given in per square kilometer. For example, a region X is 100 square kilometer and the population is 1,50,000. The density of population will be 1,50,000 is the population divided by the area of the region 100 square kilometers. We get the answer as 1,500 persons per square kilometer. Hope it's clear, Kanna. Now, here we are going to talk about population density and distribution. Distribution is the pattern of people living in a particular place. We study population in the form of density rather than in the form of distribution. The main important reason is, suppose a person is allotted to go and count the number of persons living in each and every house for the census. A person is going, finding a particular house where 4 members are living. He leaves the house, and after that there are two important chances to occur. The first one may be a new baby is born. So now the population is increased by one number. Or there is another chance saying that somebody got collapsed. Now again his data is wrong. The population reduces. So it's better to study the population in the form of density rather than the population in the form of distribution. Now, distribution is the pattern of living on a space, whereas density is the ratio between the area and the number of persons. Now, these two diagrams are showing the number of persons living in 1 square kilometer. The left side map, you can see the shades are varying from the dark brown to white in color. For example, when you come for India, China and European countries, you can see the darkest brown colors where the density is very high. And the density keeps on decreasing and the brown shade is also decreasing. Coming to Greenland, you can see it is hardly white in color where no people are living. Now coming for the right side map, you can see they have shown with political boundaries of nation. The blue color shades are showing the ocean and the other ones are shown with different political boundaries, and at the same time different shades or different colors are being used for showing the density of population. The darkest shade is there in India, where we are having the very high density of population. Then comes the China, and again the European countries are also having high density of population. Here the key you can see beneath, the maximum is showing over 250 persons per square kilometer, and it keeps on ranging and comes below 10 persons per square kilometer. This shows Kanna that the river valleys, plains, they are all having high density of population. When you come for Africa in Sahara Desert, you can see only 10 persons per square kilometer. In Greenland, Canadian lowlands, Siberian lowlands, they are all having only under 10 persons per square kilometer. So, the population density varies in the form of fertile land, availability of water, resources present there, socio and cultural factors, and also the political factors. Let us proceed with the next slide. Yes, children, now let us classify the population density as high density, medium density, and low density of population. The densely populated areas of the world are having more than 200 persons per square kilometer, which comes as the South Asia, Southeast Asia, northeastern parts of USA, and northwestern part of Europe. They are having rich river valleys with fertile plains and ideal climatic conditions and ample amount of resources, and they are economically abundant. Naturally, the population is very high. Now coming to the next line, you can see areas like North and South Poles, hot and cold deserts, high rainfall zones near the equator have very low density of population, are sparsely populated regions of the world with less than 1 person square kilometer. When you come for the North and South Pole, you can see Greenland, Iceland, where no population is there, and hot and cold deserts. Sahara, hottest desert, having less population. In cold desert, you can see the Siberian lowlands and the Canadian lowlands, Antarctica. We don't have much population. And high rainfall zones near the equator, there's 24 hours or daily 365 days there is rainfall by the convectional rainfall and hence very few people are living. They are covered with thick, dense forests where the man is unable to inhabit, as we are not having enough technology to destroy the population. And these are the areas are referred to the sparsely populated regions. Now, in between lies the medium density, that is between 11 to 50 persons per square kilometer. They occupy the western China, southern India in Asia, Norway, Sweden in Europe, a few examples. Children, mostly they will be having rich in minerals. So, this becomes the economic importance and occupies the medium density of population. Come on, children. In this slide, we are going to see about the factors that are influencing the distribution of population or the density of population. We have physical factors. Under physical factors, we have relief, that is the nature of the land terrain, the resources available, and the climatic factors. Based on the relief, we can see the areas with high density of population. For example, the fertile plains, they are flat and it is easy for the construction of buildings, settlements. It is also easy to till the land surface. So in India, we are having the Gangetic Valley with high density of population. The same way when you come for the world level, it is Huanghe Yangtze River Plain in China, Mississippi River Valley in USA, Nile Valley in Egypt. They are all having high density of population. Based on the hilly terrain, the Himalayas are having low density of population. The same way you can see that the Rockies of North America, the Andes of South America, the Alps of Europe will all be having very low density of population because it is not so easy to till the land surface as they are very steep and naturally they are very rugged, steep and they are unevenly placed. So then people do not prefer such type of land surface. It is difficult for them to construct any buildings like settlement. No transportation lines can be laid. Naturally, low density of population will be there. Now, second, we will come for resources. There are some areas which are very, very highly populated, which are very, very rich in various resources. When you come for India, Chotanagpur Plateau is famous for the coal and iron. So naturally the population is very, very high there. In the world level, they are showing that Ruhr, Germany is having high density of population. Then Saudi Arabia is meant for coal, oil. And fishing, coastal areas are rich in fishing. So these areas will be having high density of population. Now coming for the low density of population, Sahara is completely having fine grained powdered soil. Not even soil, it is a sand. Naturally sparsely populated. It is devoid of water. No moisture is available. No vegetation is available. And naturally no resources. People will be very less. So it comes under low density of population. Coming for the climatic conditions. Areas of temperate climate will be having high density of population. Good example is the Mediterranean climate. It's neither too hot nor too cold. Neither heavy rain nor low rain. In such areas, people prefer to live. In India also, the temperate zone, that is the northern India, is having very high density of population. It's neither too cold nor too hot. The people are attracted by the climate. Extremes of climate, it's either too hot, it's either too cold. Just as we told, in the Siberian lowlands, we will be having low density of. It's very, very cold. In Antarctica, very, very cold. Then Sahara, Kalahari Desert, they are very, very hot. So naturally, no people like to live there. They show the low density of population. Now in this slide, let us see what are the human factors affecting the distribution density of population. Coming to the human factors, they have again classified into political factors, social, cultural factors and economic factors. Coming first, let us see the political factors. Countries with stable governments tend to have high population density. That is, the government is very strong, and example Singapore. And there are some countries, especially they will be very particular about their giving and taking back of visa. The citizenship, they will be having very strong in their government rules and regulations. All these come under the political factors. When, for example, come for Afghanistan, still after so many years, the government is not stable. The people are not happy to live there. They keep migrating and coming to the neighboring countries, especially many people have visited India. The population is becoming very less. And India is a country who is accepting everyone as you come, you come, you come. And the density is keeping on increasing because of so many refugees. For example, you can see in Haryana, Punjab, people came from Pakistan. From Bangladesh, people came from West Bengal, came to West Bengal. And from Sri Lanka, people came to Tamil Nadu. So the density keeps on increasing because of the refugees at different occasions. When I say about Pakistan during the 1965 and 71 wars, people got distributed. And in the 1980s, Tamil Nadu increased the population because of the refugees of Sri Lanka. And these are few examples. Now coming to socio and cultural factors. Groups of people want to live close to each other for security. Not only for security, for some other reasons also, like for example, you see, people talking with same language will be having their affinity. Now, all Marathi speaking people, they want to live together. All Christians want to live together. All Hindus want to live together. So based on that, the population gets accommodated in a particular area. Other peoples prefer isolated. There are some people who do not follow anything. There are some people who want to be alone also. Example, Scandinavians. They don't want to mingle with anybody. So low density of population. And coming to India, you can see there are some tribals, especially living in the northeastern states and in Himachal Pradesh. They don't mingle with anyone. In Buster community in Madhya Pradesh, they all want to live within the forest. And there are some tribals living in Andaman Nicobar Islands. They will live without any urban people. They don't want their influence of urban. So such people, they want to be living alone. So those areas will be having very low density of population. Now coming for the economic factors. Areas with high job opportunities, plenty of industries, fertile land surface for agriculture will naturally attract plenty of people towards it. Whereas areas covered with thick dense forests or permanently covered by snow or permanently covered by finely grained sand like Sahara, they will attract low people or less density of people. Here children, they have given MEDC, more economically developed countries and less economically developed countries. So the developed countries will be having high density of population and less developed countries will be having low population. Yes children, hope you are along with me. Now let us come for population growth. Population growth or population change refers to the change in the number of inhabitants of a territory during a specific period of time. This change may be positive or negative. The population growth is expressed in absolute numbers or in the form of percentage. The population change in an area is an important indicator of economic development, social upliftment, historical and cultural background of a particular region. The population details are mostly taken by the census department. Census is an department which takes the changes that occur in the population. Once in 10 years, the population growth is calculated. The people from the statistical department personally visit each and every house to find out the changes in the local area. Now in the given diagram or image graph shown here, they are showing the population increase and decrease during 1750 to 2100. In the x-axis, they are shown the years, and in the y-axis, they are showing the percentage of increase or decrease in population. And here, children, you can see that one blue color line is showing a gradual increase, and it suddenly became steep after 1960, and it became very high by 2050, and after that also the exact numbers are increasing but the percentage is decreasing. The exact numbers are shown in blue color and the pink color one shows the percentage. The growth rate is shown in percentage. Okay, so you can see it has reached the maximum in the year 1980, 2.1 percentage. And after that, you can see a sudden and tremendous decrease in population. And we can find out the reasons in the coming slides. Yes, children. Now let us study the various concepts related with the population growth. When you come for population growth, there are three important aspects which are very much responsible for the population change in a particular place. They are the birth rate, death rate, and migration. Now when we come here, First, let us see what is meant by growth of population. Change of population in a particular area between 2 points of time is known as growth of population. Say for example 10 years as done by the census of India. For example, the population of India in 1991 was 84.63 crores. From the population of 2001, it is 102.70 crore. And then the growth of population is about 18.07 in actual numbers, crores in actual numbers. That is, the difference between 2001 population and 1991 population is 18.07 crores. Now let us come the same growth in population to be expressed in percentage. That is called as the growth rate of population. Now when we come for growth, there are so many new concepts to be understood very clearly. Now first let us see the natural growth of population. This is the population increased by difference between births and deaths in a particular region between two fixed time points of time. Now let us come for natural growth. It is birth rate minus death rate. Now when you come for actual growth rate of population, this is birth rate minus death rate plus in migration minus out migration. So natural growth is only birth rate minus death rate. Actual growth rate is also including the migration. Again, you should be very careful to understand that in migration, number of migrants who came to a particular place, number of migrants who left the particular place. Now, next one, let us come what is meant by positive growth of population. When the birth rate is more than the death rate between two fixed points of time, or when the people from other countries migrate permanently to this particular region, it is positive growth of population. Now let us come for negative growth of population. If the population decreases between two fixed points of time, it is known as negative growth of population. It occurs when the birth rate falls below the death rate. Or another possibility is the people permanently leave that particular nation and go and settle in that area. Then it shows the negative growth of population. Hope it's clear, Kanna. Yes, Kanna. Now let us see what are the components of population change. There are three important components of population change: the birth rate, the death rate, and the migration. When we come for the birth rate, we cannot find it in absolute numbers. Hence, we call it as the crude birth rate. The crude birth rate is expressed as number of live births in a year per 1,000 women. Out of 1,000 women, how many live births? Live births refers to the children after the delivery, they are still alive. And there are so many children just after the delivery they pass away. So that is the meaning of the word live birth. and so many children are passing away, and that is the meaning of the word crude. We are not able to give the exact or the absolute numbers, so only we are using the word crude birth rate. Now let us see how to calculate the crude birth rate. It is BI divided by P into 1000. Here it means that CBR, that is crude birth rate, BI, live births during the year, and P, mid-year population of the area. And to make it into percentage, it has been multiplied by 1000. Hope it's clear, Kanna. Yes, children. Now let us study the second component of the population growth, that is crude death rate. And one more thing I want to tell you, Kanna, the fertility rate is also called as the crude birth rate, and the mortality rate is also called as the death rate. Now let us see how to find the death rate, crude death rate. Crude death rate is expressed in terms of number of deaths in a particular year per thousand of population in a particular region for a time being of 10 years. Crude birth rate is calculated as D by P into 1000. The number of deaths divided by estimated mid-year population, and to make it into percentage, it is multiplied by 1000. Hope it's clear, Kanna. Now let us see the third component of population growth, the migration. Human migration is the movement of people from one place to another with the intentions of settling permanently or temporarily at a new location, new geographic location, because of various reasons like better employment opportunities, for higher studies, after getting married, or because of war, any pandemic or epidemic diseases, etc. Like so many reasons are there, the people keep on moving from one place to another. The place from where he is moving, the population will decrease. The place a person is reaching, the population will increase. Okay, so this creates a plenty of change in the number and ratio of population of a particular area within a fixed time. Now let us see, there are some various concepts within migration. Let us go in detail about it. When people move from one place to another, the place they move from is called the place of origin, and the place where they move to is called the place of destination. The place of origin shows a decrease in population, while the place of destination shows an increase in population. Now there are various types of population, Kanna. Migration may be permanent, that is permanently going and settling in a new area. It may be temporary, for a time being, for 3 years or 4 years we are settling and coming back to the mother place. It may be seasonal. You can see people moving up and down every week or even daily. For example, uh, from Chennai, people come from Chengalpat, Kanchipuram. It is all seasonal. It's daily happening. And it may be weekly also. It may take place from rural to rural areas, rural to urban areas, urban to urban, and urban to rural. And it is called as the streams of migration. internal streams of migration, that is within a small area it is repeatedly done. And again, Kanna, we can also say it as the internal migration within one nation moving from one place to another. International migration, leaving the mother nation and going and settling somewhere, or coming from the foreign nation and come back to the mother nation. Now again, there are few more things to study. Immigration. Migrants who move to a new place are called as immigrants. Emigrants, emigration. Migrants who move out are called emigrants. That is, immigration coming inside a new nation. Emigration going out of this nation to some other nation. It may be a mother nation or it may be any nation, they leave from that place. And when you come for that, it is reason may be, as I told you before, it may be for better education, it may be for medical facilities, it may be for better employment opportunities, it may be after marriage, or just because of tourism. And so many reasons are there for moving from one place to another. And now, Karna, they have shown a small topology as types of migration. It has been divided into two once again, as place-based internal migration within the nation we are moving from one place to another, international migration between two different nations, and based on the reason, it is pull factors and push factors. Pull factors means urban area is pulling the rural people towards it, showing plenty of infrastructural facilities. And rural area is pushing out the people with less economic resources. So the people move from the rural areas to the urban areas. It may not be only from rural to urban areas. For example, now recent corona is there. The most developed USA is having plenty of corona with it. So all the different area people, they want to leave for their mother nations. Now, even though it is a developed nation, it is pushing the people outside. So reason may be varying from one time to time, from place to place. Yes, children. Now, this is in continuation with the previous slide, the factors affecting migration. It was shown in a topology as reason based, the push factors and the pull factors. The push factors makes the place of origin seems less attractive for reasons like unemployment, poor living conditions, political turmoil, unpleasant climate, natural disasters, epidemics, and socio-economic backwardness. Coming to the pull factors, this makes the place of destination seem more attractive than the place of origin for reasons like better job opportunities and living conditions, peace and stability, security of life and prosperity, and pleasant climate. Children, it's also shown in the form of a figure where they have given us two boxes for push factors and pull factors. A family is moving from push factor to the pull factor area, and they are also showing in the form of a magnet. Here they are showing in the hand, left hand is showing that the agriculture has been failed. First of it was in green color, later it became dried. So now only that is the reason they are shifting. Here they are having so many industries, hospitals, facilities, and so on that is attracting them, and they are moving towards the pull factors. Under push factor, you can see there are few services, they are having lack of job opportunities, the life is not happy for them, they don't have enough transportation links, they undergo so many natural disasters, then terrible wars, and there is no enough food. Whereas when you come for full pull factors, they are having enough ample amount of services and easily that can be accessed. They have very better job opportunities and plenty of choices to select also, and more entertainment facilities. Man gets boredom with repeated work, so he needs entertainment also. Then better transport links, different types of transports like roadways, railways, airways, shipways, everything man wants to enjoy. Then the condition of life is well much developed, so he wants to see such type of living conditions with good potable water and better drainage facilities and so on. Especially in the medical facilities, man requires plenty of living conditions. Hope for a better life, that is, they always need that comfort zone and the family links. They want to have a cordial relationship within one another. So these are the pull reasons which are attracting the person from one place to another. Now let us talk about the trends of population growth. A graph is shown. It is also there in your textbook. This shows from 12,000 years before till 2000 present. Now when you see the x-axis, here we are showing the centuries or years. Every 100 years have been represented in the x-axis. And when you come for the y-axis, it represents the increase in the population. Coming to the left side, some 12,000 years before the present scenario, the agriculture started developing. So that was the first initial time of agricultural revolution, where man started settling in one place. Once he started settling in one place, he became less tired and he became more comfort. He had enough time to enjoy. So this led to the increase in population. Whereas when he was moving up and down like a nomad, he was exhausted, and many people pass away on the way, and the reproductive level was also considerably less. Now, starting from 12,000 years till the birth of Jesus Christ, the population was having a very gradual increase. It was only about to 0.25 billion. Now thereafter, you can see there is a constant and slow, steady increase in population. By 1600, the population reached to 0.5 billion. Now this was the time the Europeans, they started exploring new lands. They started moving up and down in search of ample and abundance of resources. And they went by shipways to many places. And new lands, of course, were found. Better economic resources were found. Now let us come for the next one. In the mid of the 17th and 18th century, you can see the people started the industrial revolution. The invention of steam engines, wheel, cart, etc. So the lifestyle was a better improving, and the people were able to depend more on industry than on agriculture. Now they found more leisure, as it was only a fixed time of 8 hours of working. So this led to a little more increase in the population. Now, as days went on, when man found the wheel, then slowly he found the aeroplanes,
Now he started moving between the mid of the 19th century. There was tremendous improvement in the transportation. So this led to a further increase in population. When you come for 1900, you can see there were plenty of improvement in the sanitation and medical facilities. New vaccines were created, new medicines for the epidemic diseases were found, and so on. And the hospitalization keeping on increasing. People started learning. Everywhere education has been spread. Naturally, the population also increased. Now, after 1900, you can see there were plenty of changes in biotechnology, the field of medicine. Okay, many people used to die at the time of reproduction. People mostly they were living only up to the age of 40 or 50. Now, as the improvement in biotechnology, there was a plenty of change in the growth of population. Finally, when you come for 1991, it is the year of information revolution, where it showed a sudden and steep growth of population. The year 1980 is considered to be a very sharp area in the, or we can come for the peak of the population. Now coming, there's a bar shown in the right side of the graph. See children, from 12,000 years before till the Jesus Christ, it was 0.25 billion. Then it became 5 billion when it was 1600. In the year 1830, the population was 1 billion. So now it takes many number of years to become 1 billion. But after that, in 1930, it became 2 billion. So it has taken, the whole world has taken 100 years to double in population. After that, you notice in 1960, from 1930 to 1960, only 30 years, the population again became 3 billion. In the year 1975, it became 4 billion. Now, hardly very 45 years it became. First, it was only 100 years. Now, within 45 years, it became again doubled. And between another, it be 12 years, it became 5 billion. Within another 12 years, it became 6 billion. So the population, as the development increases, the population also increases. That is the lifestyle, the comfort zone increases, the population increases to the maximum. At present, the world population is showing a negative trend because people are much important about their human development, about their emotional quotient and better standard of living. They are more bothered about education, health and income. So recently it shows a negative trend in the growth of population. Children, this is in continuation of the previous graph, the trends in the population growth. After the evolution and introduction of agriculture, about 8,000 to 12,000 years, the size of population was small, roughly 8 million. In the first century AD, it was below 300 million. The expanding world during the 16th century and 17th century set the stage of rapid population growth. Around 1750, the dawn of industrial revolution, the world population was 550 million. The world population exploded in the 18th century after the industrial revolution. Technological advancement achieved so far helped in the reduction of birth rate, provided stage for accelerated population growth rate. Now let us come for the doubling time of population, world population. The doubling time is the time taken for a population to double in size. It is applied to the population growth and can be calculated directly from the growth rate. The world's current growth rate is about 1.14%, representing a doubling time of 61 years. We can expect the world's total population of 6.5 billion to become 13 billion by 2067 if the growth continues in the same way, as per the Worldometer of United Nations. While the number of births and deaths is always a factor, things like war, disease, immigration, natural disasters can affect a population's growth rate. Since doubling time is based on a population's annual growth rate, it can also vary over time. Niger, with 48 births and 10 deaths per thousand people each year, the rate of natural population growth for this West African nation stands at 3.8%, the highest in the world. Children, this map is showing the doubling time of population. That is, each nation, how many years it takes to double in population. The darkest one, for example, the European countries, Norway, Scandinavia, here France, Germany, they're all taking more than 100 years to double in population. Now, when you come for India, it takes nearly 31 to 40 years to double in population. And when you come for the countries of Tanzania, of Africa, Saudi Arabia, it takes only 21 to 30 years to double in population. Chad takes only 21 years. Niger take 21 years to double in population. And here, children, there are some areas like Italy, Spain, they are all having declining population. And when you come for Greenland, where there is no data available. Now let us talk about the demographic transition. Demographic transition theory came to be used to describe and predict the future population of any area. The theory tells us that population of any region changes from high births and high deaths to low births and low deaths as society progresses from rural agrarian and illiterate to urban industrial and literate society. These changes occur in stages which are collectively known as the demographic cycle. Here there are two images shown where the first image shows in 5 stages and in the second image shows in 3 stages. According to a textbook, it is in the form of 3 stages. And here, when you come in the right side diagram, the x-axis is showing the years and the y-axis is showing the number of increase in the population. In the first stage, it is considered to be the pre-industrial revolution stage. The death rate was also more and the birth rate was also more. Naturally, increase in population was very steady and slow. In the second stage, industrial revolution, birth rate was high whereas the death rate falls down. And there is a very steep increase in the population. When you come for the third stage, The absolute figures in population increases, but the growth rate or the percentage decreases. Here the birth rate is also decreasing and the death rate is also decreasing because of plenty of medical facilities, decent standard of living and better education. This is in continuation of the previous graph. The first stage has the high fertility and high mortality because people reproduce more to compensate for the deaths due to epidemics and variable food supply. The population growth is slow and most of the people are engaged in agriculture where large families are an asset. Life expectancy was low, people mostly illiterate, low levels of technology. 200 years before, all the countries were in the same stage. The second stage, the fertility remained high. This accompanied by reduced mortality rate. Improvements in sanitation and health conditions led to the decline in death rate, mortality. Because of this wide gap, the net addition of population was very high. In the final stage, both fertility and mortality declined considerably. The population was either stable or grew slowly. The population became urbanized, literate, and have high technical know-how, deliberately controls the family size. This shows that human beings are extremely flexible and are able to adjust to their fertility. In the present day, different countries are showing different stages of demographic transition. Here let us see what are the different measures that can be used to control the population. There are 10 different effective measures to control the population. Development, economically and socially. Easy and cheap availability of contraceptives. Education, awareness towards reproduction. Eradication of poverty. Empowerment of women. Spreading of awareness. Providing incentives. Legislative actions. Medical facilities and delayed marriages. Another theory also shows some 7 measures like delayed marriages, improved medical facilities, government to take legislative actions, and giving attractive incentives for small family, women empowerment, and eradicating poverty, and spreading awareness of decent standard of living. So these are the measures to control the population. Now let us refresh ourselves. Children, please tell just what is population, what is meant by population distribution, how is it different from population density, what's the formula to calculate the population density, what do you mean by population growth, what is birth rate, what is death rate, what is migration, what is population doubling time, what is demographic cycle, and any 2 measures to control population. Please take down these and do it as home assignments. Thank you for your patient listening. Thank you, one and all.